Yo, good morning, everyone. How are you? Yo, good morning, everyone. How are you? How are you? I have a few written things that I really wanted to talk about, just to expand your mind if I could, in the sense that maybe you don't already understand these things, and I could possibly open that level of thinking to your person. Basically, I am committing myself to working on self goals. In a way of explaining how do people work in the community. People are the global level, very local too as well, because as you can see, literally in every single city, there's people who struggle. There's people who are going through homelessness and basically expanding your soul, your entity and spirit. People are really judgmental and your ego, and you put your integrity in a way. I was thinking basically judgmental and stuff. You put your ego in a place of relationships where vibrations and frequency of the two people, if it could come together, half the things that matter don't actually matter. In perception, structure, how you're helping one another and what you do to bring the next person up rather than down, as both ways it's just a natural flow. Breaking hearts or leaving a trail of leftover tears or emotions and self-destructive manners, people really go through these with egos and just putting their egos in the way where it shouldn't, But as a solid person, and any person has a foundation, they're basically in a leading position, or any person who's even not leading, you're just literally just on the sidelines, you're still in a position to lead. Follow your dreams basically is the end result, is the goal. Follow yourself, your own self-worth, your own self-love, your own meaning, your own purpose. Everyone has their own reason, you know what I'm saying? If you're here, it's usually for your own reason. Respect one another is also a part of it, with integrity and leading and guidance, as that could go with children, as you see upcoming, following the ones that are setting an example, which is lead by example, as also goes down to texts led billions of years. Treat others as you wish to be treated, and follow integrity, as you would like to say. It's more of a matter of matter, vibrations, frequency, the compromise, compositions, and the setup, you know what I'm saying? Alive, conscious goals. Yes, you are alive, and you don't necessarily exactly know how, but then you would know how, but then you would have to ask, how did that happen? So even if you think you know how, there's also another how that continues to continue. There's the difference between the controlled mind, woke mind, and the sleep mind. It's a different state. As you control your thinking, right? With the controlled mind, you're controlling what you think, but outside of that control, you can't control what you're thinking of. Let's say you're in love with someone, you can't control yourself. If you can say that you control yourself, I can guarantee you right now you're not. Because if this person that you love so deeply just leaves, or God forbids, goes with another human being, and then you're terribly brokenhearted and ripped out of your fucking heart, these things are proving that you don't control your own mind, you don't control your own thoughts. That's when it comes to a controlled mind. You have to be able to control your own mind. If you literally, it's integrity, as I just said too. I personally don't really, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different things. Fuck toxic things too as well, negative energy, positive, it's when you find the balance, yin and yang, as I would always, you know what I'm saying? I put yin and yang into perspective, because no matter what relationship people get in, I've seen endless and countless things. Like, it's always a positive and a negative. That's when you have the frequency of two people, positive attract, negative attracts to each other. Like, these frequencies between the people is like, I would say destination is a place with purpose. Destination with purpose. Because it falls again as integrity and structure and your soul, your spirit, and you as a person, what you follow, what you believe in. If you're going to lead, you have pride. Put it aside for your relationship as an ego sort of thing, is how that goes again. And there's always those people in relationships that walk over their person that they care for or whatever. You'll always find relationships like that. And basically put ego aside, which is which goes back to that, which is ego. It's usually pride or something. It starts between someone. It starts in the relationship. It's a position. It's a place it starts. It's not something that you would just naturally do. It starts somewhere because it's action that is learned rather than trait, like a trait. You know what I'm saying? So rather than following a life of negative energy and leading a negative frequency and leaving behind negative energy, spread light, live a life of positive energy where you're constantly you could bring people up rather than bringing them down. So stressful things like that too, like music. A lot of times you could play music, it could change the mood of any sort of setting. Like, you could be in a room where it's like lit as fuck, right? And then all of a sudden you just play some like that's not lit as fuck, and then it's not lit as fuck anymore. That goes down to vibrations with frequency if you are using the frequency. But it's compromise and finding your own purpose and your own controlled mind. A woke mind is different from a sleep mind, because think of when you go to sleep. Where does your soul go? Your actual spirit, as the spirit itself, tend to be blank, or you'll dream. When you dream, I guess it's related to what you're thinking of in that moment, or whatever you thought of throughout that day or prior to that event, because not everyone has the same thoughts. As you can go to sleep, dream of something, wake up and tell someone about your dream, and that person will have no idea what you're talking about because it was in your dream. But you will believe that this event inside of your mind actually could have occurred, but the whole time it actually never did. It's just the chemical imbalance inside of your brain working, creating these things that you would perceive as reality, which is conscious levels and conscious frequency, which is also, each person has their own level of conscious, so you would see each person's perception on reality could actually be very different, as you would see a whole lot of different things. Like, that's when you say fuck toxic and negative traits, like, and different places. As yes, spreading peace and positivity, if you're spreading it in like a capitalism type of way, it becomes like a toxic trait. But using that frequency is what can get it pushed, because yes, structure is what builds the self, basically, like, again, self integrity and self motivation and whatever, self love. And you have to have your own you have to be able to articulate. Can you articulate these feelings that you feel, and the way to express yourself and follow your dreams and lead an example, and also constant thoughts of just expansion and evolution, and to grow your own spiritual awareness. Your mind, again, as XXXTentacion said, because I follow him, and that was like one of someone's I fought with heaviest fault. And spiritual soul, I listen to endless people that will motivate you and will uplift your spirit. There's many people I could literally just recommend that will just uplift your spirit, and you can get a spiritual awakening and literally realize your own conscious well-being and your purpose inside of the existence of the universe and reality itself. There's like billions of different levels of thinking with billions of different neurons inside of your brain. So there's brain activity levels. But as there's different neurons, there's also like different things inside of the universe that they connect with, like a lot of things. But how your eyes react to the light when you turn on the light, You know what I'm saying? The pupils dilate and everything like that all the time, and different like things that could happen. Like, I'm probably not smart enough to really explain it, so I want to clearly articulate it. But I know what I mean, and I know the meaning of what I'm saying. So if I say something, sometimes, you know what I'm saying, and then I really know the meaning of what I'm saying, though. It takes a couple times. That's why it goes back to, can you articulate what you're feeling and thinking, which is how you know the difference between a controlled mind or a woke mind, sleep mind, one that's just leading and just living. Because the difference in thought process, some people, they can't break down these thoughts like that and have trains of ways of thinking. It's literally in that sense. This thing goes back to elevation inside of your spiritual awareness and a spiritual sense, and then evolution and evoluting your mind and stuff like that. That's how, like, every evolution basically occurred, because people have thoughts like this, and then they expand their brain and try to expand their spiritual awareness and their conscious levels, and then eventually you have an expanded universe, and then you have an expanse, which is like an industrial period and revelation, and then all types of different shit like that. And then, yeah, but there was like a whole list of shit too. For relationships, walking over people, you want to be positive, and you want to spread more positivity in the universe, and who's helping someone more, who's doing anything for the community, who's spreading the light, who's actually trying to make peace and order and ego and statistic, because people tend to put their personal lives and relationships into the same category in one relationship, when in reality, if you take a relationship, there's two different people in a relationship. So that means that there's two different personal lives involved in one relationship. So with that being said, that's when you come down to ego and spiritual awareness and stuff like that, personal lives as well. But it constantly always affects on a global level. So like, someone could experience something one day and then take their attitude out on the next person. So like, again, that goes as like spiritual awareness and personal beliefs system too, because you have personal beliefs, and every single person has pride and their own belief, and everyone wants respect, and understanding is nature to gaining respect and to gaining the insight on the other person's frequency in a level to understand that person. Now, in the mind, you wouldn't necessarily understand that instantly, but breaking it down, watch that a couple times, your spiritual like understanding could transcend to a beyond level of enlightenment that doesn't necessarily exist, but it does exist. And it's compromise, hard work for each person. Is like understanding. And then if you have an ego, and then you want to find order and peace in the unions and drugs that come in with people's lives that also influence personal lives and personal opinions and personal ways of thinking and trains of thought, motivated and motivational speakers. That's how it goes into helping the next person too, like helping one another. How are you helping the next person? When you're saying something, how is that benefiting someone else as well? Can you benefit yourself while benefiting multiple people in one train of thought? Understanding, which is stars, integrity, person, solid, structure, purpose, destination, dreams, fuck toxic, and then negative positivity. Energy literally speaks for itself and then goes to a frequency, to another level, to a transcended mind that could literally matter, but it does not matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, matter doesn't really matter, but it's like relationships and like your conscious levels and compromise and purpose.